Welcome. Today, we're diving into an explainer that tackles the ultimate Ice Age heavyweight bout, Mammoth versus Smilodon. Who would win? We all love imagining these massive, cinematic, earth-shaking battles, right? But today, we're going to look strictly at the actual science. We want to figure out how these magnificent creatures really operated in the wild, and exactly what would go down if they truly crossed paths out on the frozen tundra.
I mean, just picture this clash for a second. One ruled the ice. One was built to kill. Who survives? On one side, you've got this staggering, fur-covered giant, a beast that literally shaped the ecosystem it walked through. And on the flip side, a lethal, highly specialized predator rocking razor-sharp saber teeth. Figuring out who survives this encounter is a genuine biological puzzle. It's not some Hollywood movie. It's this fascinating study of sheer brute force up against specialized precision. And honestly, the outcome, it might actually surprise you.
Okay, to properly set the stage here, we need to travel back roughly 20,000 years. The Earth is entirely covered in ice and ruled by giants. Glaciers dominate the northern hemisphere, and these biting, relentless winds are just sweeping across the sparse mammoth steppe. But in this incredibly harsh, unforgiving biome, huge mammoths absolutely thrived. They were the undisputed kings of this deep freeze. Why? Because they were literally biologically engineered for it, using super dense layers of fat and specialized fur to turn an unlivable wasteland into their absolute empire.
But while those mammoths are out there roaming in plain sight, projecting all that dominance, there's a deadly saber-toothed hunter hidden right nearby in the frost. Enter the Smilodon. You probably know it as the famous saber-toothed cat. Now, this guy wasn't built for long, exhausting chases across the tundra. No way. Instead, it was an absolute master of the explosive ambush. Its mottled coat probably blended perfectly into the snowy brush and rocky outcrops, letting it just sit there, watching the giants from a distance, calculating the exact right moment to strike. So this brings us to a huge question. Could a solitary hunter really challenge a giant mammoth? When you think about the sheer risk a single predator takes attacking megafauna, the stakes are just unimaginably high. I mean, a single kick from a massive herbivore can shatter ribs instantly. So we've got to ask ourselves, would an animal built for stealth and quick kills ever actually risk taking down such an enormous, intimidating biological fortress?
Let's look at the tail of the tape here. It is the ultimate contrast of evolutionary strategies. We're comparing the woolly mammoth's size and raw strength against the Smilodon's lethal skill and speed. On the one hand, the mammoth relied almost entirely on sheer mass to deter threats. But the Smilodon? It obviously couldn't rely on being the biggest animal in the room. Instead, it relied entirely on hyper-specialization. We're talking sudden bursts of speed and precision biological weaponry designed to end a fight in seconds.
To really get a sense of this, let's talk scale for a second. The woolly mammoth was 4 meters, or 13 feet tall. If you were standing right next to an adult male, you wouldn't even reach its knee. And the tusks, those alone could grow over 10 feet long and weigh more than 100 pounds each. The towering, staggering scale of this animal made it a literal walking fortress of dense muscle and thick hide.
And it wasn't just about height. We are talking about an animal that weighed 6 tons. The physics of a 6-ton creature are just wild. 12,000 pounds of dense bone, heavy muscle, and thick fat meant the mammoth could use all that mass defensively. Imagine the kinetic energy of a small dump truck turning on a dime. That's what this was. A mountain of an animal moving across the ice, capable of crushing threats with absolute ease. But the Smilodon countered with a deadly arsenal of its own. Despite its much smaller size, it had incredibly powerful forelimbs and, of course, those iconic long saber teeth. Now here's a crazy fact. Those legendary teeth were actually pretty brittle side to side. They could totally snap if they hit moving bone. Because of that, the Smilodon needed those massively powerful arms to wrestle heavily struggling prey to a complete halt, pinning them down perfectly, before delivering a surgical, fatal strike to the soft tissue of the neck.
Okay, let's put this all together in a frozen valley simulation. Picture this. The ambient temperature is way below zero. The crunch of packed snow is echoing softly, and whiteout conditions are just starting to form. A tense standoff is about to unfold. A massive herd of mammoths is slowly moving through the snow, communicating with these low subsonic rumbles that vibrate right through the ground. And they are completely unaware of the danger lurking just at the rocky edge of the valley.
Now, the Smilodon doesn't just charge in blindly. It follows a highly calculated sequence. Step 1, quietly stalk the herd. It uses the uneven, rocky terrain to stay completely hidden downwind. Patience is everything here. Step 2, wait for a young mammoth to become separated. It's looking for that one crucial mistake, a calf drifting just a little too far from the safety of the adults. And then step 3, the attack begins. The exact moment that target is isolated, the muscles coil, and a violent, explosive burst of speed kicks off the ambush.
So right at the moment of impact, the tension peaks. It's a total collision of evolutionary extremes. Can a 600-pound, hyper-muscled cat launching itself at a wall of fur actually manage to grapple and bring down this animal? Or would the sheer, unyielding, massive strength of even a young mammoth just be too much force? Like, could the herbivore just shake off the predator and trample it right into the snow? Well, time for a reality check. If we step back from our Hollywood-style simulation and look at the actual fossil record, we see that Smilodons targeted the young, the weak, or the injured. In the wild, predators absolutely avoid fair fights. A fair fight means risk. For a solitary hunter like the Smilodon, even a minor injury, like a cracked rib from a tusk swipe or a bruised leg from a kick, means it can't hunt. And if it can't hunt, it starves. Because of this, scientists know that healthy adults simply weren't on the menu.
In fact, paleontologists totally agree on this. A fully grown mammoth would have been an extremely dangerous, almost invincible opponent for a solitary cat. It was simply too formidable, way too heavy, and wildly too risky for any predator to hunt safely. A mature mammoth was essentially a living tank. One swing of those massive sweeping tusks, or just a single defensive stop from a 12,000-pound foot, that would mean instant, unavoidable death for a Smilodon, no question.
Ultimately, the outcome depended entirely on the situation. What you should take away from this explainer is that nature isn't really about epic cinematic brawls. It's about calculated survival and intense risk management. The myth of endless head-to-head titan clashes is, well, it's just a myth. A Smilodon would absolutely win if it successfully isolated a vulnerable, inexperienced calf. But a healthy adult mammoth, it would confidently win in almost any other scenario. Survival in the harsh ice age was incredibly strategic, relying completely on conserving energy and minimizing danger.
So, we now know the kings of the frozen tundra avoided fair fights to survive. But man, all this really makes you wonder about the other unbelievable creatures that once roamed our planet in completely different, far more volatile environments. We've settled the debate on the ice, but what happens when two of the greatest river monsters in history fight? Who survives the ultimate aquatic clash between the massive armor-plated Sarcosuchus and the colossal snake Titanoboa? Well, we are definitely going to have to explore that unbelievable matchup next time.